I never imagined my life would take such a twisted turn. Growing up, I always thought betrayal came in the form of lies, backstabbing friends, or a broken promise. But betrayal, real betrayal, came from me. And it came with the one person I was supposed to respect and keep boundaries with, my stepmother. I'll stay anonymous, not because I'm ashamed to share this, but because some secrets are better told without names. Some people will judge me, others may understand, but one thing is certain, this is a story of forbidden passion, of lines crossed, and of a betrayal that changed my life forever. My father had remarried when I was already in my early 20s. He was a good man, hard-working, but always too consumed by his business trips and responsibilities. That left her, my stepmother, alone most of the time. She was only in her mid-30s, vibrant, beautiful, and exuding a confidence that could fill any room she walked into. At first, I kept my distance. Respect, I told myself. She was my father's wife, after all. But with each interaction, I found myself noticing things I shouldn't, her laughter, the way she brushed her hair back, the way her clothes hugged her figure. She was nothing like the women I dated. She was older, experienced, and carried an aura that made me feel things I couldn't quite explain. It all began one late evening when my father had gone on yet another business trip. She asked me to help her fix the leaking pipe under the kitchen sink. I crouched down, water dripping on my shirt, while she stood close behind me, her perfume mixing with the scent of soap and dampness. When I looked up, she was watching me, not with motherly affection, but with something deeper, something that made my pulse quicken. That night, the seed of betrayal was planted. I told myself it was harmless at first. She was just being friendly, I reasoned. But soon, the conversations grew longer, the silences heavier, the eye contact lingering. We started sharing things we shouldn't, late-night talks over wine, quiet laughter in the living room, and stories about loneliness neither of us had dared admit before. My father called her often but never stayed on the line long enough to listen. He was always rushing, always distracted. She never said it out loud, but I could see the longing in her eyes, the hunger for attention. And I, foolish and reckless, started giving her what he didn't. The first time we crossed the line, it was subtle. A touch on my hand that lingered too long, a brush of her body against mine in the hallway. Then one night, when the rain poured outside and the thunder roared through the house, she leaned in. I still remember the warmth of her breath on my lips before she kissed me. I should have stopped it. I knew the weight of what we were doing. But I didn't. I couldn't. The thrill of her lips against mine, the feel of her body pressed close, made me forget every moral boundary I thought I had. That kiss led to more. Each stolen moment became riskier, each encounter more daring. We were careful, always careful, but the passion between us was uncontrollable. She wasn't caught, and I never confessed. To the world, we were just stepmother and stepson. But behind closed doors, we were something much darker. And I loved every second of it. Our secret became an addiction. The more we tried to resist, the deeper we fell into each other's arms. I'd come home late from nights out with friends, only to find her waiting, sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes in the living room, sometimes even in her bedroom with the door slightly open, daring me to step in. We learned each other's bodies in ways that left me restless when she wasn't around. Her confidence drove me wild, and my youth gave her the energy she craved. It was a dangerous balance, her experience and my recklessness. But with every night of fire came mornings of guilt. I would see my father the next day, shaking his hand, sitting at the same table, pretending nothing was happening. He trusted me. He trusted her. And we were both betraying him in the worst way possible. There were moments when she cried afterward, whispering that we had to stop. She'd bury her face into my chest and confess her fears. But no matter how many times we swore it was the last time, we always found ourselves tangled in each other again. The guilt didn't stop us. It only fueled the passion. Months turned into years, and our secret remained hidden. She was never caught. My father never suspected. And to everyone else, she remained the loyal wife who stood by his side. But I knew the truth. There were times when I almost slipped, when I almost confessed to someone just to free myself from the burden. But how could I? To admit it would destroy my father, my family, and even her. She reminded me constantly, no one can ever know. This stays between us. I obeyed. Our adventures grew riskier. Hotel rooms, spontaneous drives, even moments stolen in the very house my father had built. Every time I thought we were going too far, she'd pull me deeper, and I followed willingly. I wasn't in love, not really. It wasn't love, it was lust, adrenaline, the forbidden fruit I could never resist. And yet, in some twisted way, it became my life. I looked forward to her touch more than anything else. The women I dated never measured up, they seemed naive, inexperienced, dull in comparison to her. I knew it couldn't last forever. And still, I clung to it. Looking back now, I know I can never undo what I did. I betrayed my father. I betrayed myself. And yet, I don't regret the experiences, they shaped me, twisted me, changed me in ways I'll carry forever. She and I eventually drifted apart. It wasn't a fight or a dramatic ending. It was life. She grew more careful, more distant, until one day the fire was simply gone. But the memory remains, sharp and vivid, as if it happened yesterday. My father never knew. To this day, he still doesn't. She was never caught, and I never told. That's why I stay anonymous, because this is a story that lives only in the shadows. But I'll never forget the taste of betrayal. I'll never forget how it felt to cross a line that should never be crossed, and how, once crossed, there was no going back. This was my secret. My story. My betrayal. And it changed my life forever. This story is a fictionalized narrative intended for mature audiences only. It explores themes of secrecy, betrayal, and forbidden desire. The events and characters are anonymous and dramatized for storytelling purposes. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Some betrayals are never revealed, some secrets are carried to the grave. This was mine. A forbidden passion that started with a glance and grew into something I could never fully control. She was never caught, my father never knew, and the truth has lived only in the shadows of my memory. But that's what makes stories like this so dangerous, and so unforgettable. They remind us how fragile trust can be, how desire can overpower reason, and how one choice can change a life forever. If this story shocked you, if it made you think, or if it left you speechless, then you won't want to miss what's coming next. Every week, I share more real, raw, and unfiltered confessions about love, betrayal, and the secrets people hide. Subscribe now and join me for the next story. You'll never look at marriage, trust, or temptation the same way again.